What's up, everybody? Thumbs up the video when you come in. Sorry if y'all hear that noise in the background. That's my neighbors playing their demonic music. So, sorry. If you hear it, I hear it very loudly. I'm not sure if you guys do. I want to give people a second to come in. So, when you guys are coming in, please thumbs up the video. I have something rather important to talk to you guys about today. Um, those of some of you guys who are here with my reading that I did earlier today. Um, you know, one of the things as a content creators, as a content creator that I try to do is I try to drop little breadcrumbs of self-love messages and self-love trinkets to you guys when I do my readings. I know sometimes I miss the mark and sometimes I hit the nail on the head, and it's very evident in my content. Sometimes I get upset. Sometimes, as a human, I can get emotional. Things happen, and I don't always drive the point home of what it is that I'm trying to share with you guys, or the lesson that I'm trying to help everybody to learn. Because I do personally, as a tarot reader, believe that it's bigger than just tarot. I mean, I do think it's good to get on here and bring messages to people and kind of, help guide them in their lives when it comes to their love life, or, if an obstacle could possibly be in their way, if something's going on with their finances or their career or their children, or something up with their safety or something of the sort. I think that it's very, very, very important. But I think that sometimes us as tarot readers, I think we have a heavier duty or responsibility to be a little bit more pushy when it comes to our authenticity. I think that our job is a little bit greater because as spiritual readers, we should have some sort of spiritual knowledge that can kind of help guide people with our own life lessons. And I think there's a lot of people that are embarrassed or afraid about the things that they have been through in their past, only because I can pick up on people's energy so well. I can kind of tell just, from listening to a person or watching a person for a few minutes. I can tell if they're one of those people who kind of want to hide behind, whatever they have going on. And I'm not here to judge anybody. That's not what I'm here for. Um, Today, the important message that I have for you guys is about the highest form of self love. And I know we don't necessarily talk about that very much, but I do bring it up a lot. I first want to say that sometimes certain things, the way you say it, can come off as aggressive, and people can get offended by your messages sometimes. And not necessarily that you're trying to offend anybody, but when people haven't taken accountability for their own selves, their own actions, their own life, it can kind of rub people the wrong way when you kind of pull them behind, the curtain from in front of them, and everybody can see them and makes them kind of feel naked. So, the highest form of self love that I want to bring forward to you guys today, and this is not going to be a long lesson, but it's about accountability. Accountability is interchangeable with responsibility. Okay. So, first things first, I want to share a few definitions with you guys so you can get an understanding of where I am so you can follow me. And then I'm going to break this down for y'all real quick, and I'm going to let y'all go on about y'all evenings. Okay. But, and great. Now my nose want to run as soon as I get on here. I was just fine. Okay. So the very first definition I'd like to break down for you guys is self-love. Okay. The definition, according to Google, for self-love is regard for one's own well-being and happiness, chiefly considered as a desirable rather than narcissistic characteristic. Okay. And then I went on to define narcissistic because I think a lot of people throw that word around and don't really understand exactly what it means. But the definition for narcissistic is having an excessive, erotic interest in oneself and one's physical appearance. Okay. If we pay attention to a certain group of people that are walking the planet right now, they're not women. Okay. That seems to be what they're holding on to. Their erotic desirability to everybody on the planet. Okay. Hint, hint. Shots fired. Okay. The next definition I'd like to bring forward is accountability. The definition for accountability is the fact or condition of being accountable, also responsibility. And the definition for responsibility, and this is the one that I feel is the most important, the state of fact of having to deal with something or having control over someone. And that's what we're going to talk about. So, accountability and responsibility can be used interchangeably. They pretty much mean the same thing according to the dictionary. And I know sometimes when people hear the word accountability, it kind of feel like you giving somebody, a trophy over you to wave over your head and be like, yeah, you was wrong. You need to apologize. You need to kiss my ass. You need to do this. That's not what it's about. Taking accountability for something, a behavior, a decision you made in life, having a child out of wedlock, drunk driving, no matter how huge it is or no matter how small it is, taking accountability for that thing actually does something very unique that I don't think a lot of people recognize it does. But what it does is it gives you power. You basically take a person's weapon from them that they can use against you, right? So here's the thing, right? I'm not special, right? So I get attacked on YouTube just like everybody else does. But if you guys notice when people attack me, my attacks are very short lived and a lot of them are a bunch of nonsense. Why? I've taken accountability for all my stuff. There's nothing anybody can use against me. Everything that I am, I've given to you. Everything, all my flaws, all my emotional side. I have my drinks on here with y'all. Anything that I do, I share it with you guys. Anything that I've done, I've shared it with you guys. So I don't have, no one has any weapons to use against me. And this is what we need to learn how to do as a people. Now, shout out to Cynthia G, because this is what Cynthia is trying to drive home to you. And I don't want to speak for her. She didn't tell me this, okay? This is just what I'm feeling. I was actually laying down taking a nap, and I was having a dream. And for some weird reason, my ancestors wanted to download my life journey before me. And I thought I was going on home to glory, child. I ain't lying, okay? I was like, oops, I think I'm finna give up the ghost. But what they did was they showed me my life. And they showed me how irresponsible I was and how my life looked before I learned to take accountability for my own actions, for my own mistakes. When I stopped blaming my mom, when I stopped blaming my dad, when I stopped blaming my circumstances, when I stopped blaming my situation, my failed marriage, and all those things. When I started saying, you know what? I married him. I had kids with him. I decided to get behind the wheel and drink. I decided to deal with that narcissist. I decided to date a guy that beat me up. I decided to do it. I did it. I did it. I did. I noticed, and now this was in my dream state, that my life started to slowly change. And of course, when it was happening, I didn't realize it. I didn't recognize that it was changing until, of course, the change had manifested itself. But when you take accountability or responsibility for something, okay, which is what I believe Cynthia is trying to get us as melanated women to understand. When we take accountability and responsibility for our part in the way our community looks. And listen, I'm not telling you to run and go and be like, oh, we did it all. Oh, Lord, we did everything. That's not what I'm talking about, okay? I don't want you to think that. That's not what I mean. What I'm talking about is how we fear for our sons, how we give them chance after chance after chance because we feel they've been disenfranchised, how we'll let them come live in our houses with no jobs, how they'll go to jail and we'll go buy a $500 call card for them to call when we know we ain't got it, how we'll go up there to the jail and visit them when we know they was wrong, how we'll go sit in courthouses and support them when we know they was out there robbing and taking from people, how we'll sit there and make excuses for them when they're misbehaving in school, how we ignore and pretend like we don't see the drugs and the toe tagging going on in our communities, and we pretend like it's a select few and it's not the majority causing the issues, how we coddle these young babies, We're scared for them to go out in the world because something's gonna happen to little Tyrone Jr. We have to take responsibility for a part of that. Part of it is us. But what that does by taking responsibility for our part, because some of it ain't got shit to do with us. We can't take responsibility for no man not taking care of his children. That ain't got nothing to do with us. That's not our problem. But how we mother is, okay? And what we expect and accept from men is, that's our responsibility. Raise our standards higher. Don't accept a man coming in your house without a job. A person who can't take care of themselves, you should know, cannot take care of you. If he comes to your house smelling like feet, don't get mad if he got your bed smelling like ass. Okay? That's a sign that he has not learned to take care of himself. If he does not pay his bills on time, he is irresponsible. Okay? These are the type of things we have to take responsibility for when it comes to our own behavior, not theirs. I'm not talking about man shit. I'm talking about woman shit. I'm talking about putting on our big girl drawers and saying, you know what, girl? I put up with some really poor behavior from these men. I've had 10 failed relationships. And you know what? I accepted trash. And maybe it's not the men. Maybe it's me. Maybe my standards are too damn low. Hey, Cynthia, I was just talking about you, baby. Maybe my standards are too low. Maybe it's me that's the problem. Okay? And like I said, I'm not here to bash anybody or tell anybody, oh, you doing something wrong. That's not what I'm saying, black women. What I'm telling you is, when you take accountability and responsibility for your part in our shit, it gives you power. That's what you guys need to understand. It gives you power. Because right here with responsibility, it says the state or fact of having to deal with something or having control over someone. Control over someone. And that's what you're trying to take back. Control over your own vessel, yourself. When you have control over yourself, you also have control over your environment, meaning you have control over the people who are allowed into your life and into your world. We would not be being toe tagged every 4.5 to 5 hours if we were taking accountability for the things that we put up with the men in this community. We would not. If we raised our standards like Miss Cynthia G has been telling us to do, we would not be on the news as much as we have been. Our community would not be full of men who abandon their responsibilities and their children. We accept it. That's our downfall. That's your part in it. You accept bullshit. And then you get mad and cry and get pissed off with the other men because you accepted bullshit. And now that part is not their fault. That's your fault. That's your fault. You not finding a group of strong men, probably not going to be black men, okay? I had to do it too, okay? You not finding a group of strong men to show your boys how to hunt and how to forage and making sure that they know how to protect themselves, getting up in martial arts, teaching them how to defend themselves, teaching them how to use weapons, teaching them how to cook. That's your responsibility if you chose a partner who was not going to be there for that young man. It's your responsibility. Unfortunately, it's your responsibility. Okay? But it gives you power or control over someone. Okay? It's not a trophy for someone to hold over your head and go, nah, 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 nah. You need to apologize. You got to tell me that you sorry. That's not what it's about. It's about taking back your own power. Being able to say, you know what? You're right. And let me tell you something. I went through a phase with my sons. A lot of you women who have older sons, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. But me and my oldest son, we went through a phase where we had a love-hate thing going on, where I loved him, but I hated him. I did. All of a sudden, when he hit about 16 years old, he started getting extremely disrespectful. He was slamming walls, and he was just fucking angry. And I was like, what the hell is wrong with him? You know, I'm over here looking around. I was like, what's going on with this kid, right? And it got so bad that I had to take my weapons out the house because I was like, I'd be over here drinking and stuff. I don't know, what I might do. Okay, he's 25 now, so this is a while ago. But I had to call my family members and say, hey, let me bring my weapons over there because I don't know what's going on with me and homeboy, and I don't want to, be over here snap. I watched that show Snap, so I know people can snap. And me, I'm a fire sign Aries. I'm a little unpredictable myself, so so, but we went through this phase where he got really angry, and I couldn't really reason with him because he wasn't trying to hear what I was talking about. And so I was like, well, at 16, you can't really throw him out, legally, without going to jail or getting in trouble or whatever. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm either going to be forced to isolate myself from him in my own home. And I literally felt like a prisoner in my own home because I didn't want to be around him. His energy was really nasty. It was really funky. It was really disgusting. It was really disrespectful. And finally, one day, we got into it real bad. I will never forget this day. Oh my gosh, it hurt me so bad because he said you did this and you did that and you made me feel like this and you wasn't there for me and I needed somebody to talk to and you wasn't there to hug me and you left me and I needed you. And as bad as I wanted to tell him, bitch, I had to work. But fuck, I knew what I was doing. I understood what I was doing. But he didn't understand the concept of when you're in a single parent home, you have one person taking on the responsibility of two people, not just two people. Mind you, I didn't even have a village. I didn't have like my sisters and brothers and a lot of people have that support system, the grandparents, you could drop the kids off. I didn't have any of that. When I became a single parent, that's exactly what I was, a single parent. Okay? If I had to work, I had to sneak and work at night or I had to work when my kids were at school. If I could not do anything during the daytime, okay? So I understood where I was coming from. I understood that I had to get out and I had to go make money to make sure there was food on the table, make sure bills were paid, and make sure the lights stayed on. He didn't understand that. All he knew is he wanted his mama. Okay? He wanted his mama. That's all he knew. And of course he didn't go off on his dad like that. He didn't understand, Jay. That's what I'm trying to tell you. He was 16. Why would he go off on his dad? His dad wasn't there. I'm trying to tell you this. Let me talk, girl. So he's like, you did this and you did that and da 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 da. And I thought about it. I talked my shit because y'all know I'm an Aries and y'all know I'm queen. Okay? I was like, boy, please. Ain't nobody finna sit here and go back and forth with you when you don't even understand adultisms around here. I'm not finna sit here and go back and forth with a little boy about what I needed to do to make sure that you were okay. And at one point in time, I had sat them down and told them that I had to parent them different ways. And he was like, that's not fair. You parented us different ways. I mean, basically everything I told him about my parenting skills, he threw it back in my face. And I went and sat in my room. And at the time, I was drinking tequila, demon juice, okay? And I was drinking, and I thought about it. And I said, you know what? I said, the next time he brings this up, if he decides to bring it up again, because I was fueling mad. I was pissed. My feelings was hurt. I cried. I was like, what the fuck do he mean? I wasn't there. Bitch, I was home every day. I cooked every day. But you got to understand, it's coming from the perspective of a child. He's not thinking with the same brain as me. So of course I'm thinking like, damn, you need to be cussing your daddy out. But he's 16. He's a child. I would be a fool to think, why did he not say anything to his dad? Well, first of all, I just said the nigga wasn't there. Okay, that's the first thing. If he ain't there, how you gonna go off on somebody that ain't there, right? The only person that was there for him to be angry at was me. So everywhere I fell short, it was my fault. He didn't get it. So we ended up having this bout again, but this time it was a little less aggressive where he was like, there was times when you made me feel unloved. There was times where I really needed you. I needed you to support me. I remember I wanted to be in sports and you wasn't there. You weren't available and da da da. And I said, listen, you know what? You're right. There was times I fell short. There was times I was not there. There was times that I could not hug you. There was times when I was so tired, I didn't even have the energy to recognize that you were in pain, son. I didn't know you were being bullied in school. I didn't know the kids were talking about your clothes because we didn't have it like that. I didn't know you were the poor kids. My kids told me at one point they were the poor kids at school. I didn't know that shit. I was too busy working trying to hold it down, right? But when he said it to me, I told him, I looked him in his face with tears in my eyes and I said, you're right. You're right about all that. I drank too much. I was stressed out. I didn't always do it right. I didn't always say the right thing. I didn't always do the right thing. But I always had your best interest. And then when I told him he was right, he stopped. He put his guard down. You could tell his shoulders went down. He put his guard down. And he listened. And I told him, you know what? You're right. There are some things where I fell short. But you know what? I'm not a man. I'm not your dad. So there's things that I would never understand that I was doing wrong. I'm not a man. Right? I'm not a man. You understand? And then and only to a certain extent he understood where I was coming from, because still I'm not a man. I can't teach him the perspective of what said man would behave like, because I'm not him. I don't know what dude thinking like. You know what I'm saying? But when we went through that and I took responsibility for it, is when I noticed we broke a barrier between us. Instead of there being this brick wall, it was kind of like spirit came in and used one of those little wrecking balls and knocked the top of it down, so at least we could face each other, you know? And we were able to gain a little bit of ground to where we were able to see, at least, even if we didn't see eye to eye, we could see each other. We could see each other's emotions. We could read each other's faces. We could see if something we said made each other feel a certain type of way. At that time, we actually cared, because he realized, he was like, oh shit, she said she was sorry. Like, yo, that's what's up. Because look, if you working, right, and I made, this was my thing when my boys was younger. When I first became a single parent, my thing was, I'm gonna have a job for every child I got. And I did that. Now imagine you have 3 young babies and your ass is running around here working 3 jobs. How much time do you really have? I mean, they wasn't babies, you know what I'm saying. But how much time do you really have to pay attention to your little people if you're working 3 jobs? Like, seriously, you know what I'm saying? In between eating and sleeping, okay. Well, how much time do you really have? Then on the weekends I was hustling, so I had to be gone for that. Okay, so yes, I was a workaholic. I was a workaholic, and I still am, and I still am. I still am. But it was because I was okay. Here's the thing, right? There was a thing with me. I did not want my children to grow up. Now, I could have easily taken the easy route. I could have moved into the projects. I could have drove a Pinto. I could have ate ramen noodles every day and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and I could have been straight. Okay? But I wanted to give them the opportunity to have the things that I did not have. And I don't think people who come from a poverty state, when you come from a place of lack, when you grow up in a situation where you don't have and you don't have enough, it does something to your psyche. Especially when you have children, it does something to you mentally. Okay? What it does is, especially when you have children, when your children look up at you with those little eyes and they want to know, you know, what are we eating? Where are we going to live? Is this place safe? Because I played a little bit with danger when they were younger. You know, I lived in Ohio, you know, Toledo, Glass City. That was a little reckless, kind of. You know, we lived right on the outskirts of the bullshit, and not so much in the bullshit. But when I got up and I moved my boys back to Georgia, which is where I had spent majority of my teenage years, um, and brought them there, and I put them in a different area, a different neighborhood. And don't get me wrong, I had public assistance, I had all that stuff. I had the food stamps, I had the Section 8, I had all that stuff. I was eligible for all of it. Even when I was married, I was eligible for it. Okay, so but I didn't go to the places that accepted low income. I went to play. I mean, I went to places that accepted low income, but I put them in houses. I put them in places where I had to cut the grass. I was responsible for making sure the yard was upkept and making sure that things were nice and tidy and clean. And you had to, you know, do your maintenance and stuff like that. I took on that responsibility for A, for safety, B, for educational reasons, and C, because I wanted my children to experience something that I did. I grew up in the projects. I had to fight my way out the door every morning. I didn't want that for them. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, my boys went to boxing and they learned how to fight, but it was by choice. It wasn't because somebody was standing at the doorstep for breakfast ready to yank their hair out of their heads, you know? But that was my thing. You know, everybody doesn't deal with poverty the same way, but that's the way I dealt with it. I dealt with it like, I'm never going to, my children will never eat a sugar and peanut butter sandwich unless they want to. It won't be because there's only sugar and peanut butter and bread in the house. It'll never happen. So, and you guys have to remember this too. I had my first baby when I was 18. Okay? By the time I was 22, I had 3 children of my own, 2 stepchildren, and a husband. So I was a child. This is coming from a little girl mindset. Okay? So I'm giving you this, not the person I am today. Okay, the woman I am today, the 42-year-old woman that I am today, is not the same little girl I was back then. My oldest son is 25 now. My baby is 21. Okay, well, he just turned 21. So this is coming from that perspective of a child. This is my trauma, that the way that I dealt with my childhood trauma was, I'm never going to let this happen to my children. That was my fear. I never wanted my children to experience what I experienced in the projects. How certain nights on the weekends we had to sleep on the floor because you never knew where bullets was gonna come flying from. There was times when we would be in our bedroom sleeping and we would hear the neighbors fighting and screaming next door. That we saw pregnant women getting beat up all in the middle of the street by their baby daddies. We saw bodies on the way to school, babies inside of dumpsters. Like, listen, when I tell you it went down in my hood, it went down. Okay, I seen it all. I was traumatized. So I didn't want my children to experience that, right? So in my mind, I'm thinking, why would I expose my children? I could have gone to the projects. I was completely eligible to live there. But I was like, nah, no, I don't want to go to a place where everybody all bundled up together and we all needing and we all wishing and we all hoping and we all robbing each other and it's a big orgy and all. I didn't want that for them. So that's why I made the decision to work a job for every child that I had. Okay. Basically equaling out to 2 full-time jobs, 1 full-time and 2 part-time jobs. But yes, I did. I worked 3 jobs and I hustled. I did. I sold clothes. I did hair. I was like Baby D. Okay, babysat kids. Sold alcohol on Sundays because they didn't used to sell alcohol on Sundays. I was the weed lady. What you need? I was the plug, boo. Okay, you needed some bitches. I had bitches. I was hustling. Okay, I wanted to make sure my boys was good. I did, and I didn't know before. When I went on my spiritual journey that my kids were considered the poor kids, though. That was when we had our little downfall or whatever. But anyways, what responsibility does, okay, let's get back on track. But what responsibility does is it takes a person's weapon away from them that they can use against you. So like that story I told you about my son, he was able to weaponize all those things against me because I had never taken responsibility for it. I had never accepted that there were some areas where I failed. I used to walk my kids down the street and people used to be like, oh my God, like your children are like little military children. They were little bitty guys, just little stair steps. And even when I was married, I had all 5 of my children. They would go in the store. I didn't need no leashes. I didn't have to put nobody in no buggy, no shopping cart, nothing. They wouldn't touch anything. They would stand there single file, me looking up at me. Wait on me to tell them to get some. Get that sugar, baby. Okay, mama. Get that, baby. Okay, mama. I had no issues out of my children at all. So in my brain, I'm thinking, okay, well, I must have did pretty good. When the sheriff come knock on your door and tell you got some of the most well-behaved children in the neighborhood, I mean, it's like, pat yourself on the back here, Sheriff normally come knock on your door when you're a melanated woman and tell you how messed up your kids are, what they caught them doing. The sheriff came to tell me, the sheriff of our whole city came to tell me how well-behaved my children were. And mind you, for the person who asked, my children lived in they grew up in one of the wealthiest neighborhoods in the United States of America. And when we left there, when it was in my control, when it was not in my control, but it was nothing I could do about that. But when it was in my control, they moved to one of the safest places in America, voted. Okay. So you guys can kind of know what I'm saying and you can look this shit up. Okay. But you take your power back. And what I did by accepting responsibility, of course, I didn't realize I was doing it at the time, but I had taken his weapon away from him. He could no longer take those things and weaponize them against me because I had accepted that, you know what? You made some mistakes, girl. You wasn't perfect. You weren't always there. And I sacrificed. I sacrificed having a good home for them and safety and good education for their emotional stability sometimes. Or paying attention to them, or being there to hug them when they needed me to hug them, or whatever. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. But what I'm saying is I have accepted that was what I had to trade off in order to make sure that they had what they needed. Okay? And I know that I know, listen, I don't want you guys to get triggered, right? I don't want you guys to think that I'm on here trying to say that my sons are bad or anything like that. I'm telling you about experience that we had because I'm really trying to draw home what responsibility does for you. We have our relationship is not like that now, just so you guys know, okay? Um, but at that time, and like I said, please remember this is a 16-year-old boy, okay? And I when I had him, I was only 18. So we grew up together. You understand what I'm saying? Um, in a way, okay? Um, so I had taken his weapon from him so he could no longer weaponize those things against me, though. You understand? And the younger children were watching and they learned as well. Like, oh, okay, mom took responsibility for what she did. Now, the flip side to that is change, right? Transformation. You want, you always want to be able to take your new held responsibility, which sometimes is difficult. Sometimes it is. It is very difficult to see things from the perspective of someone else, especially when you're working hard and you're being responsible. Because in my brain, I was like, how much more responsible can you get? You're sacrificing, you're working hard, you hustling, you're making sure your children are in a safe neighborhood, you making sure they have the best schooling, you making sure they have everything that you they didn't always have the fanciest clothes, okay? But they were, they were good. They were safe. They didn't have to worry about going outside and bullets flying all over the place. They didn't have to worry about drugs outside. They didn't have to worry about anything. If they wanted trouble, they had to go look for it. And they had to go far to find it. Okay? Um, but you also get this thing where you get to transform things, right? Because now you have all this power, right? It's in your hands and you're looking at it and you're like, wow, I have all this power because I took responsibility for something that someone was using against me to tell me that I did wrong, right? Now you take all this power back. What do you do with it? What do we do with this new power that we have in our hands? Well, what do we want to do? We want to transform, right? We want to turn ourselves into somebody that we weren't, and not be the same person that we were before. Now, will I say now we have a healthier relationship than we did? Yes. Do they still get on my damn nerves? Yes. Okay. It's just is what it is. Um, but my transformation was, listen, I'll never be that person that I was before. I'll never be the immature person who sacrifices material things for your emotional ever again, even though I did it again, but they was grown by then, whatever. Okay, I went in a truck and then I left for 6 months. Fuck them. Just saying. But it was a different circumstance. They weren't little, they weren't confused about a lot of stuff. We had talked a lot of things out, whatever. But also, you don't feel guilty anymore. You know, like, all that guilt sometimes people say, oh, I feel so bad because my son's daddy ain't around. I feel so bad because I had to go to work and I wasn't there for my kids. I feel so bad because if you sit and talk to older people, sometimes they will sit and tell you about what all this stuff they feel so bad about. And if you would just take responsibility and say, look, I didn't do it right, but I did my best. It's what I knew how to do. Nobody taught me nobody taught me financial maturity. Nobody taught me how to balance a checkbook. I had to do that shit through trial and error. Okay? I had to learn the hard way. I had to mess up money to value money. Okay? I had to get messed up in relationships to understand what a good relationship looked like. I had to have a messed up relationship with my children to understand how to have a good one with them. You understand what I'm saying? And it's still not perfect, but it's a lot better. Okay? And then you grow from it, right? You grow. You become a different person because then you go, oh, okay, well, if I just take responsibility for whatever it is. Let me tell you one of the reasons why I probably lost, maybe, I think I was fired twice in my whole life. Every other job I had to quit. And I'll tell you why. And I didn't realize I was doing it at the time. I promise y'all, I didn't. I'm feisty. I'm an Aries. I'm brutally honest. Anybody who's a fire sign, that's how we get down, especially Aries. Okay, babies of the zodiac. Okay, so not only are we feisty and fiery and honest, but we also very immature with it. But I used to tell them, like, yeah, you know what? I messed that up. My bad. I know you showed me and told me how to do it, but I actually forgot. I smoke a lot of weed. I'm sorry. This was before it was a big deal for you to smoke marijuana at work. I mean, we used to take lunch breaks and smoke blunts. This is different. It's a new day, so whatever. Um, but yeah, I would just take responsibility. Be like, my bad. I didn't, I ain't know. I did that wrong. Okay, show me how to do it one more time. I promise I ain't gonna ask you no more. This time I'm gonna write it down. Like, I just would be very responsible. And my bosses always respected that about me. They'd be like, Queen, you're different. Like, damn, you. Okay, yeah, all right. She misplaced $50. All right, Queen, look, it's not gone. You just didn't do it right. So here, do it like this, and this, and this, and this. And you didn't take account of me. You didn't write this off. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. And then they would show me how to do the shit, and then it would never happen again. And then they started to trust me, and I would always get offered a job of leadership. Every job. You want to be the manager? You want to be the shift leader? You want to be the team leader? Hell no. Because that means when don't nobody show up, you want me here by myself. Hell no, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to. No, no. But I was always offered a leadership position because that is leadership shit, right? Don't we hear a lot of black men saying that we won't let them lead? Well, one of the very first signs that a person will share with you and show you that they want to be a leader is they have to accept responsibility for what is going on. If you meet an individual, I don't care who it is. I don't care if they are men. I don't care if they are women. And this is for the men too, okay? If you meet a woman who takes no responsibility for her own choices that she has made in her life, run. Ladies, the same. If you meet a man that will not take responsibility, say, why you don't see your kids? Oh, my baby mama, she be tripping. Hey, man, why you ain't got no job? Oh, I ain't got no car right now. Look, bro, and you got 2 good feet? You got 2 good feet? Or you got bus fare? Or your ass can hitchhike or grab the back of a bus and hold on for dear life until you get to where you going? Ain't no excuses. It's no excuses. You got a bicycle or something? There's no excuses for being down in the dumps these days. If there is too many ways to get around. There's too many court systems you can go to get visitation with your children. There's too many people making decisions to do the wrong thing and then turning around and blaming circumstances or blaming it on another person of why they're being irresponsible. If you want a responsible person, if you are going to decide to follow somebody, male or female, I don't care who it is. I'm talking about your mama. I'm talking about your sister. I'm talking about your brother. I'm talking about your daddy. I'm talking about your man. I'm talking about whoever it is that you finna get behind and you gonna root for them and you gonna hold them down and you gonna ride or die with them. You better make sure that they got a leadership mind. Because if they gonna lead you, you better know where the hell you going. I'm just telling you. Don't let nobody lead you to hell because that's where we been. That's what we've been for 400 plus years. It don't look like it's changing if you ask me. But let me tell you the golden part about this, okay? You also get to break generational cycles. This is the most powerful part about this. Excuse me, hold on, y'all. You get to break generational cycles, right? Because think about it. If you come from a bloodline of a bunch of irresponsible ass men who all walk away from their children and their responsibilities, and oh, your mama, she ain't let me see y'all's kids. And then your brother get older. Oh, my baby mama won't let me see my kids, or vice versa. All of the women blaming the men. Oh, he left me. Oh, he did this. Oh, he cheated on me. Oh, he beat me up. Oh, this happened. Oh, this. Oh Lord, I couldn't leave my man. I couldn't do that. I ain't gonna leave the hood because my mama here. I'm not gonna leave because my sister, my family here. Listen, I made sacrifices, leadership shit. I picked up my duffel bag and moved my whole family, my immediate family, away from my entire family in order to make sure that my children were safe and that they had the proper education. I did that. That's a sacrifice. Okay? Leaders make sacrifices for the betterment of their own outcome and the outcome of their offspring. That's leadership. Anybody who's too strung up on what another person is going to do and they're not really willing to take the immediate things that are important to them and get up and get out of the way of danger or unsafe environment or bad people entities around their little ones, that's irresponsible. If you want to be a leader, you have to act like a leader. Leaders make decisions that are tough. Leaders make decisions that hurt. Leaders make decisions that a lot of people are not willing to make. That's why millionaires and billionaires are in two different categories. That's why the rich and the poor are in two different categories. Poor people are not willing to take the risk that a rich person is willing to take. A rich person is willing to take their last $500 and go and gambling on something and willing to accept failure for a chance at success. Poor people aren't willing to do that. A poor person will take their last $500, go buy them a $10 bag of weed, and try to hold on to that $490 like their life depend on it. They ain't finna go invest that shit. They're not gonna go get a flip house for $500 and go and get a little $5,000 grant and go put $5,000 into that house and flip it. They're not gonna do that. Not no poor person. Never. Never. A rich person understands if I take this $500 and I go buy me a house that needs a little bit of work in the hood, and as soon as I buy that house and I got that deed in my hand, I can take that to somebody and get some free money. See, a rich person think different. They know that taking their last $500 can get them thousands and upon thousands of more dollars. Poor people don't think like that. They ain't thinking that way. Poor person sitting there thinking about, ooh, how I'm gonna pay the rent. A rich person think about, how can I where can I invest a little bit to get a lot? Two different mindsets. Just like with people who are responsible and people who are irresponsible. They're thinking in two different ways. So ladies, we have to start listening to what these men are saying to us. When you're sitting down, having conversations with them, this so-called vetting, they're telling you a lot of times. These men are telling you. They're telling you what their behavior. When you ask a man, how many children do you have? And he tell you. And you say, oh, okay. And then you watch. Go kick it with him for the weekend. Where the kids at? You go over there 3-4 weekends in a row, you don't see the kids? Boo. He don't take care of his kids, boo. No, boo, he don't. And even if he is providing financially, he's not there, boo. He's telling you something. He's telling you something. Hello, red flag, ding, ding, ding. If you ask a man what was his last relationship like, oh, she cheated on me. She did this. She did that. She did this. She did that. Oh, really? Okay. Go try and find her ass on Facebook. Get her side of the story, too. And somewhere in the middle of that is the truth. Whatever she tell you, whatever he tell you, somewhere in the middle is the truth. But both of them did something to make the union not work. Ain't no perfect person getting left around this joint. Okay? People ain't walking off leaving perfect partners. Unless they crazy. Well, there's a lot of them too. Okay. But y'all understand what I'm saying, right? So being responsible gives you power. It gives you power or authority over someone. Who do you want to use your power of authority over? Because I'm going to tell you, this is the reason why our community is looking with this shift going on. How you see the black women moving up and the black men moving down. How they're complaining about black men costing the economy $50 billion a year. And the black women are becoming the fastest entrepreneurs, fastest millionaires, enrolling the most in college, becoming graduates and things like that. The reason why you see this power dynamic shifting the way that you see it shifting is because there's a lot more black women willing to accept responsibility for what's happening and the poor decisions that they made than it is the men. Okay? And unfortunately, you guys are going to have to kind of leave these people behind, because this is one of the most important things. In order for us to break these generational curses, we have to start walking away from poor behavior, no matter what we want, no matter what we desire. This man can look like honey dipped chocolate drops. Okay? Because I done seen some of them. But they be trash, y'all. Have a conversation with them. Some of these guys will tell you they ain't about nothing. They'll tell you you can talk to some of them for 5 minutes and he'll tell you he ain't about nothing. He ain't worth your time. He ain't worth your energy. He came to use you. He came to siphon all of your energy, and he gonna run off and somewhere else, and you best not fall in love. You best not fall in love. Okay? But you have to learn to break these generational curses. not just for yourself, but for your offspring. What are you teaching your children? What are you teaching your little daughters and your sons by accepting poor behavior from people? What exactly are you showing them? And then, this is the thing that kind of baffles my brain a little bit. People will accept poor behavior from their partners and then wonder why their children get older and disrespect them. You know, that disrespect at that time that came from my son, I had to accept responsibility for the fact that I had brought some people around him that had some really poor behavior. And maybe he lost some respect for me because of the way he saw me being treated by other people. The disrespect I accepted from other men, if that makes sense. And that's a tough pill to swallow. It really is. Nobody wants to think that, oh, well, some guy I was dating, 5 years ago could have possibly made my child lose respect for me. But guys, when you think about it from the eyes of a child, you don't know what they're absorbing and how they're putting things together in their heads. And for a lot of you single ladies out there, unfortunately, I hate to tell you this, but if you're dating a bunch of guys that are coming into your world around your children and your children are witnessing these men disrespecting you, some of y'all got to take responsibility for the fact that your kids really like Kevin Samuels. I'm not saying it's 100% your fault, but I'm telling you that we do kind of take a little bit of responsibility for this high horse they own. And thinking they can go put them on a little three-piece suit with some long socks and some heels and get up on YouTube and tell us how we ain't shit. Maybe it's because we put up with some poor behavior that they saw. Okay? And I know it's tough. Like I said, I know that's not the easiest thing for us to kind of go down. But we have to start looking at this thing from a very realistic, way. We're not hiding anything from it. If your children are in your home, they see you. They see you. You can't hide anything from them. Even when you think they don't hear you, you can turn the music up and be in there, throwing that thing back, getting it in, and you be like, oh, the music was up. They ain't hearing it. They heard you. They heard you. If you in there having a conversation with a man in your room and you got your door locked and closed, they can hear you through them walls. Ain't nobody house soundproof. They hear you. And if they don't hear you through the walls, they hear you through the vents. They hear you. They know what's going. If that man going upside your head, they know. If he calling you all types of bees and holes, they know. If y'all arguing about money, they know. They know. Listen, you ain't hiding nothing from them. So you might as well just go ahead and accept responsibility for whatever it is you done did, or whatever it is you done said, and all them cocks that you tried to hide under your mattress while your sons was watching or listening rather. Just accept it. Some of y'all children lost respect for y'all because y'all accepted poor behavior. And you may have even done some very poor, low vibrational behaviors. But now is not the time to beat yourself up. Now is the time for you to accept that you did something wrong so you can take your damn power back. And that's the highest form of self-love. Taking back your power, taking responsibility for your part in whatever happened, whatever failures you had in life, you played a part in it. Even if you didn't physically do anything, there was something you said yes to that wasn't good for you. Something you put up with that wasn't for your benefit. Somebody you slept with that had some irresponsible behavior that they told you and showed you, but you didn't listen. Or maybe you didn't know that's what they were saying. Either way, you accepted it. Some of us got pregnant by Tyrone and he told us he was Tyrone. We just didn't realize what he was saying. Okay? Some of us were completely deceived. Okay? Like my situation. Food, done married a chick and taking care of your children, 3 jobs and all that when I meet you. And then I say I don't want to be with you no more. Now all of a sudden you don't know me or the kids. Really? I was blindsided, I tell you. But I do understand there's different circumstances for different people. And I know this thing plays out in different ways. And like I said, if dude choose to not be around, we have to be careful about what it is that we're doing and who we're bringing in our home and conversations that we're having. We think we're doing things in private. I've heard people say that stupid ass shit too. Oh no, girl, I was in my room on the phone. You think your kids don't hear you talking on that phone in your room, girl? Huh. I remember a long time ago, I knew this girl. She was married to this guy. He was so trash. Oh my God. This was 20 plus years ago. She was married to this guy that was freaking trash, y'all. I was pregnant. I was pregnant with my second oldest son, and every time he saw me, he was like, "Ooh, I ain't never had no pregnant stuff before." Every time my wife got pregnant, I was in jail. Red flag, red flag, red flag. But she was my friend anyway. Like, even if, he was cute, which he wasn't, or, he was somebody I wanted to smash, which he wasn't, she was my friend. He was off limits as far as I'm concerned. I've never been that type of chick that kick it with, chicks, dudes, and baby daddies. I was like, bruh, it's too many fish in the sea. Ain't nobody got time for that. But, anyways, this dude was absolute fucking trash, right? And the girl that I knew at the time, she had like, I think she had, I want to say she had two or three sons and she was pregnant. She ended up pregnant later. No, she wasn't pregnant at the time. I was pregnant at this time. And she was still with her husband. And y'all, I will never forget one day she was like, "Come over, Queen. I made something to eat. I want you to come and eat with me and the kids and blah, blah, blah." I was really depressed and everything like that. So I went over to her house to go eat. And her husband was gone. I guess he had been gone all day or something. I kind of walked into the middle of, a war. Didn't know it. But we sitting there, we eating, and she's steady calling, 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 calling. So finally, he answers the phone, and I don't know if y'all remember the phones back in the day, like before everybody had like a cell phone, like those big phones that you had to pick up and put up to your ear, and they had the little buttons you would push. And those phones were so damn loud. There was like no, like if the person was talking, you could hear the conversation. Like you could just hold the phone out. And it was almost like you had it on speaker. So she was talking to him and she was like, "Where you at? You need to come home." Da 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 da. Now she on the phone, right? She started the conversation in the dining room with me and her sons. We were all there eating. And she got up and took the phone and went in her room. Guys, this is no BS. This is no BS. I didn't understand what was happening at the time. I was only like 22. No, I'm sorry. I was like 20. Yeah, I was 20. I was pregnant with my second oldest son. So I was like 19, 20 years old. She goes in the room. I'm sitting at the table with her sons. And, I'm trying to not be weird, because shit was weird. She closed the door. And you could hear her in there crying. I'm talking about, "Please come home. Don't leave me like this. I got your kids. How could you cheat on me again?" And you could see the oldest son, he knew exactly what was going on. He was so uncomfortable, y'all. When I tell y'all awkward, man, you talking about, that was the most awkward meal I think I ever eaten in my life. Because the little boy he was weirded out. You could tell, you could see it in his face. He was just like, "Why is my mom not strong? Why? What's wrong with her?" And I'm over here trying to smooth it over. I'm over here looking like, I don't know. But let me tell you what happened shortly after that. I was only friends with her for a few years. Shortly after that, do you know her son started dogging her and calling her out her name and everything? And he was like, "You can't tell me what to do. You let these niggas talk to you any type of way." I was like, "Ooh." He was talking about his own dad. "You let my daddy talk to you and dog you and cheat on you and you beg him to come home." And she was like, "I'll do it. I'll do it." And the Lord knows, my brain went straight to the gut. I was like, "Oh Lord, what's she finna do? Let me go home. I need to wash my hands. I need sanitizer. What is this?" But it was cringy. And the only reason I didn't leave while she was having a conversation, because I didn't want the boys, her sons, to feel, weirded out. But it was so weird, guys, to see. And in her brain, because she picked up her phone and went in her room and closed her door, she's thinking she's in private. And her son is out here uncomfortable, taking his fork and playing with his food and listening. And I'm like, oh my God. So we have to break these cycles. We have to understand that some of this disrespect that we're getting from some of these men is because they watched us guys operate in very low vibrational, poor, accepting of very poor nothing. We've been accepting nothing from these men in our community. So how do we expect to accept nothing from two baby daddies, or ex-husband, all your ex-boyfriends, the dude who took your virginity, all that, and then now you turn 30 and you want somebody to respect you? He gonna look at you like you a joke. He is. He gonna be like, "Everybody else got to use you. Now you want me to treat you like you a gym, and you don't say here and got used, treated like a Cubic zirconia, and now you want me to treat you like a ruby? Like, think about it, guys. What other way do we expect for them to think? A high value person has high value morality. And here's the thing, right? High value is a mentality, it's a state of mind. There are certain things that a high value person is not going to put up with. I don't care what circumstance they're in. They could be in the middle of the projects, living poor, with holes in the floor, sleeping on a mattress that hasn't been changed in 20 years. Okay? And if they have a high value mentality, they are not putting up with buffoonery. It is a state of mind. You plant the seeds for your offspring. You have to teach them what high value is. High value is not money. High value is a behavior. Why do you think people who come from the trailer park can marry millionaires? Because of their standards. I'm not accepting that. Yes, I might come from a very dysfunctional, poor background, but I don't like it. How do I prove to you that I don't like it? I don't put up with that shit. High value is a state of mind. It's a mentality. It is not what's in your wallet. That helps, but it's not what's in your wallet. There is no such thing as a high value man because he makes six figures. A high value man can manifest six figures out of nothing. That's a high value man. A high value man brings you peace. A high value man would never put his hands on you. A high value man respects you. A high value man doesn't mind coming in and nurturing his woman and taking care of her. A high value man doesn't mind because he sees the value in a high value woman. But you can't go around in trashy situationships for 30 years and think that a man is not going to be able to sniff that out. Ladies, they know. They can tell when you've accepted kibbles and bits. You know how? Because they test you. They give you one kibble and see if they need to give you a bit. Are you going to take it? Are you going to take the bait? They can tell, guys. Stop thinking you're hiding. Your BBLs doesn't fix your mentality. Your facelifts aren't fixing your mentality. Going and getting your mommy makeover is not fixing your mentality. That's the reason why those women who are getting all those surgeries are up complaining about why they still can't get a man. Because you've been accepting kibbles and bits, baby. And no man that is high value is going to come and offer you anything except a kibble and maybe a bit. Because a lot of y'all are happy with your kibble. Y'all like, oh, he opened the door for me. First of all, bitch. I'm sorry. First of all, opening the door for me and taking me out to dinner does not warrant you sleeping with me. Not me. Unless I'm on some bullshit. Okay? If I'm on some bullshit and I just want to use you and abuse you, then you're good for the taking as far as I'm concerned. But if I'm really looking to settle down and be in a committed connection with somebody, I need to meet your family. I want to talk to your mother. I want to talk to your dad. I want to know what's going on in your private life. I want to see you when you're drunk. If you smoke weed, I want to see you when you high. I need to see you act the fool, and I need you to be on your best. I don't want nobody to be in no relationship with me that I haven't seen drunk before if they drink. I don't want nobody in no committed relationship with me that I haven't seen high before if they smoke weed. I do not want that. Because if you snap, crackle, and pop on me one day and I done had 6 months worth of good behavior, child, my heart gonna be broke. I need to see you without your haircut. I need to see you first thing in the morning when you wake up. Do you got that drool mark on the side of your mouth? Is one of your eyes stuck closed because you got that crust? I need to see that. I don't need no damn surprises. Okay? First of all, opening doors and taking me out for a nice meal should come with the territory. I'm a high value woman. I can take care of myself. A motherfucker could walk in my house and see that I take care of myself. They already know. Oh, you can't come to Queen with no kibbles and bits because Queen ain't driving kibbles and bits. Queen don't live in kibbles and bits. Queen live in a nice neighborhood. She got a nice home. You can't come over here. You can't do that. You can't do that. I don't shop at Rainbow. I would, but I don't. Okay? I need to see you at your best, and I need to see you at your absolute worst. I need to see both. And trust me, baby, you're going to get a whiff of this. Okay? Bitch, I'm coming through before I shower, ain't brushed my teeth, all that. I need to know you're going to accept me and my junkiness too. What I look like being in a relationship with a dude that can't handle me without makeup? Fuck, I'm supposed to do with that? You can't handle a little morning breath? Oh, no. I can't. No, I'm good. No, shawty. Mm-mm. I can't do nothing with that. I can't do nothing with that. You want me to look like I put makeup on before I go to bed and when I wake up? No, you ain't the man for me. Ain't it? Okay? So, like I was telling you guys, the highest form of self-love is responsibility. And the reason why the highest form of self-love is responsibility, because you take your power back. Okay? And when you so-call yourself dating, for those of you who want to be in serious relationships, because y'all know I've been past that, child, I'm straight. But those of you who do want to be, excuse me, in solid relationships, in connections that make sense, connections where someone is actually going to value you, I'm going to make a little suggestion. Some of you need a little bit of practice of how to love yourself first. Some of you don't even know what that looks like. Some of you think that getting your nails and your hair done has something to do with the approval of men. If you're still doing things for the approval and attention of men, you a kibble and bit girl. If you're going to get a BBL because you want dudes to look at your fat ass, you a kibble and bit girl. A high value woman don't give a damn about. A high value woman understands that it's not about your titties and your ass that get no high value man, baby. Why you think fat women always married? Always married. Why? Why you think the chicks with the jelly rolls always and the girls with the BBLs is always single? Up on TikTok complaining. Oh, these men are so mean. These men. Everybody talk about how many jelly rolls and arm fats I got, but I stay getting the bang, bang, bang. Why? And the girls with the BBLs talking about how they can't get no man. Why? It's a reason for that. Okay? And I don't even want no damn relationship. All right? So you guys have to learn how to love yourself. I get my nails done for me because I don't want to look at no ugly ass, crusty ass fingers. I get my feet done because I like looking at my toes looking cute. Okay? I go to bed looking like Whoopi Goldberg silly at night so I can get up and have this shit going on in the morning. It ain't got a damn thing to do with y'all. I like looking at myself looking pleasant. I don't want, look, first of all, I don't want to be looking at no ugly bitch, including myself. Okay? So I keep my appearance up because I don't like looking at ugly things. Okay? So that's where you need to start first. If you're still going around here doing things for validation and attention from the opposite sex or whatever sex you're interested in, you a kibble and big girl. You got to get out the dog food, boo. Get you a steak. Okay? Because you getting these kibble and bit dudes that's out here kibbling and bitting your ass. Because you're not showing high value behavior. If listen, y'all don't even have to tell them. They done studied us for so long, they know. You don't even have to say nothing. They can come to your house one time and they be like, oh, this a dirty, nasty, kibble and bit bitch. They can tell. If they go in your bathroom, they can tell if you a kibble and bit girl or if you a high value girl. High value people keep their house clean because they don't like dirt. High value people wash their legs and their feet. White people. Okay? They do. Because I mean, who don't do that? You know what I'm saying? High value people care about how their vehicles. I take my vehicle to the car wash every 2 days. I have a monthly car wash pass. I don't be riding around no dirty ass car. I don't want nobody to look over at my car and might accidentally think it's a dirt bum bitch up in there. No, sirree, Bob. Okay? I clean my damn house because I like having a clean house. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for the super chat, G Strathmore. Thank you, baby. Yeah, so, guys, work on your own self-love, okay? Get your priorities in order. And this message is basically, I mean, it's for anybody who gets the message. But really, I'm really talking to my sisters, you know. Um, because I know I fell back a lot on the messages when it comes to the way black men be acting and all this and all that. But I really think that we really need to start seeing things from a different perspective and get an understanding of what's actually happening here. You know what I'm saying? One hand wash the other. You know, and like I said, y'all, I don't have a perfect life. I'm not a perfect person. My relationship with my children isn't perfect, but it's a lot better than what it was. And I know I seen some of y'all in the comments like, "Oh, black boys always blaming their mama for everything and da da da." Well, I mean, he was 16. What the fuck else did he have to blame? You know what I'm saying? All my boys did that. But do they take things out on me now? No, they help me with everything. You know what I'm saying? Like everything. I don't take out trash. I don't mop floors. Like it's a lot of shit I don't do because my boys, I'm high value, bitch. I don't know what to tell you. Okay, it's certain stuff I'm just not gonna do. Not with no dude in my house. If I lived by myself, then yeah, of course I would mop my floors and take out my trash. But I don't. If it's a man in here, it's certain stuff I'm just not gonna do. And I think any man that walks in my house is gonna know that. Okay. All right. And it just is what it is. There's certain stuff I'm not doing. Like my boys would be like, "Mom, I'm gonna take the car to the car wash, and vacuum it out. I'm gonna go and detail your car. You'll see the little spot on the hood." And look, it's the certain stuff I'm not doing. I'm just not saying whatever. High value shit. Anyways, I hope this kind of helped y'all a little bit. I was having my little dream, and I sure thought I was gonna go home to glory. I said, let me get up and tell y'all this shit before it leaves me. Okay. So yeah. Oh yeah, so you talking about a different washcloth for each area too? What you talking about, on your body or around the house? Because I use paper towels. I like to clean shit and throw it away. But if you talking about on your body, oh yes, ma'am. Listen now. Can't be using no face. Look, don't you scrub your cootie cat and then use that towel on your face. You better stop playing. Okay. That is not sexy and it is not high value. All right. All right. I'm glad we ended this on a good note. But listen, I love you. I love you guys. You won't look at Kibbles and Bits the same now. Well, reference it to behavior. Kibbles and Bits is the behavior. When somebody will throw you enough to, just to get you to do what they want you to do. You know what I'm saying? Look at it like that, just a little bit here and a little bit there. Oh, you gonna let me hit it? Okay, I guess I could stop there. But then they get on the phone with their homeboy. Yeah, man, all I had to do, take her out to eat. I opened the door, you know what I'm saying, 2 or 3 times. And then shit, I went home, she swallowed the whole thing. She made the whole thing disappear. You should hear them on the phone. I got brothers and cousins and stuff. Look, they're sick. The way they be talking about these chicks with no value is bad, y'all. If y'all only knew what they say behind y'all back, I swear y'all would change the game so quick. Y'all would change the game so quick. They disrespect y'all so bad. That's why I'm so glad I had savages as like the men who taught me about men and how they look at women growing up, because I put up with very little from men. Very, very little. I'm talking about this much. And I'm gonna be honest. And I'm guilty of this. I'm gonna take responsibility for something else that I do. If I'm having a conversation with a guy and he lets me know his behavior is trash while I'm having a conversation, and he's not gonna tell me like, "Hey, I'm trash." He gonna say little things that's gonna let me know that it's trash, like what I gave y'all an example earlier. And I still want to smash. Girl, listen, I act like a lady and think like a man. Thank you. See you when I see you. Just saying. Okay. So anyways, yeah, I hope this message helps somebody. I really do. I really hope that somebody can, maybe sit a young girl that's getting ready to start the dating stage or something like that, and sit in front of this video and maybe take something from this to kind of give her an understanding of what exactly it is that's happening. I really wish that I had some of my cousins and stuff around me down here, because I will let my cousins come on my live and let the male cousins, like some of my male cousins, get up and talk to you, and like the hood ones. I got some good cousins too, but I'm talking about the hood ones, and let them talk to y'all and tell y'all the type of stuff that they think and the things that they say. Because, my boys ain't nothing like them guys. So I can't even, my boys, if anything, my boys would be able to tell y'all about like my parenting and stuff like that. But my cousins, my family in the hood, bro, whew, they used to put me in the car and be like, look, you see her? You see this? Don't you let no, watch this. Don't you let no do this to you. Cuz, don't you let no do this to you. And hop right out the car and grab her ass up. Come here, bitch. Give me your money. I be sitting in the car like, word. Listen, I learned from some savages, but it kept me safe. A lot of my uncles were pimps and dope dealers. So they taught me how to not be a hoe and a drug addict. This is what it is. All right. Yeah, that's my story, y'all. But I want to give y'all that quick little lesson. Like I said, hopefully it helps somebody. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for your time and attention. I'm gonna let y'all get back to y'all evening festivities. Okay. I love y'all. I will be here tomorrow for the Ask a Question sessions. For those of you who are interested, that'll be where you guys can ask your questions. I dedicate a few hours to y'all to ask whatever you want. So if you will be here for that session tomorrow evening, go ahead and write your questions down to have things together. And y'all know we trying to do this in an orderly way. So for those of you who will be attending, um, I'll see you there. All right. And I love you guys so much. All right. Self love. Later, y'all.